G'day everyone, Jaimunji here, and I am here with the lead vocalist, Commander Dominic of CYPECORE. How are you today, my friend?
I am appalled you called me Commander because usually people just call me Dom by my
I,
first name. Happy to be here, dude. Thanks for having me.
you're a Paul. I had to do it. I had to do it. It's on the thing.
You had to, yeah.
We've got to live the gimmick a little bit, don't we?
I mean, look at me, dude. I'm at home in a t-shirt of a great band, by the way. Check them out. Yeah, so in private and in interviews, I tend to stray away from the gimmick a little bit, but yeah.
It's all right. I won't make you put on the armor or the eye patch or anything.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
no.
wouldn't have it here anyways.
How you been anyway, mate? It's been a busy couple of months for you. Just we're about a month off. I'll be back being released, which I was just having a look at the views on YouTube too. That is climbing up there to be one of your biggest releases ever on the platform. How are you feeling about it?
Pretty good, to be honest. I was kind of worried because it kind of goes in a new direction in terms of the sound progressing from what people may have been used to when listening to Cypher's music. But I think overall it's very well received, and as you said, it's shaping up to be one of our biggest successes. So everybody in the team is very happy about that, and yeah, I'm ecstatic, dude. We have a couple more bangers in the pipeline, and I'm excited to see what the people are gonna say about those, dude.
No, and like you said, it is a bit nerve-wracking because I remember when I first did the reaction to the music video as well. I wasn't expecting that chorus. You kind of had that little almost drum and bass bit there. The harsh vocals come in, but that chorus coming in with the bigger cleans, I guess different to what you normally do, was yeah, it was a fresh touch. And yeah, like you said, people have accepted because it either goes one way or the other. Either people are going to love it or people are going to hate it. So it is risky throwing out something like that. But at least we've kind of landed on the people have loved it side, so that's good.
Thank God. We're hoping to keep it that way. Yeah. I mean, as a band, you kind of look for the new hot thing that, you like in music and in art. And us personally, we've always been like very big fans of the band Soilwork.
Mm.
And we may have listened a little bit too much to that band in the preparation of making that song because now that I've listened to it back a couple times, I can kind of see some similarities, although I would never dare compare myself to Bjorn, since he's like one of my singing idols. So, but you can always try. You can
Yeah.
always try and strive to be the best you can be, and maybe even as good as Bjorn Strid, and fail miserably, but still be kind of okay doing it. So that's how it happened.
Saying that and saying the soil work influence, I can actually kind of hear it now. I don't know, it just didn't click in my mind until you said it. I was kind of like, oh yeah, I can kind of see what you're going for there. But yeah, it's yeah, I love the thing. And like you said, you got a few more bangers in the pipeline. How long's this pipeline? How long is it going to take us to hear these bangers?
So there is no official like scheduled, release thingy going on right now, but if things go as planned in the background, we are going to release the fifth album in 2024, around Aprilish is what is scheduled right now. But we are still in the process of recording and writing the album, so I would say we're about 60% done at this point, and then you would have to factor in like a 6 month preparation period where you would like get the promo done and get the videos made and this and that stuff, pick singles and whatnot, the all of
Yeah.
the boring stuff that goes on behind the curtains.
Speaking of videos as well, your video production is outstanding. Walk us through that a bit because yeah, it's very easy just to have kind of a blank canvas and just nothing going on. But I don't know, there's just all these trippy elements, big production value.
I'm very happy you say that because it may appear that way, but it's mostly pretty basic DIY stuff that we just made for as little money as possible. Having great friends in, for example, Mirko Witzki, who is directing and making music videos for big giant bands like Arch Enemy and whatnot. And we've been friends with him, and he has made some of our music videos and has also made the one for I'll Be Back. We've been fortunate that people believe in our music and in our art, and that they allow us to make quality content for less money than, let's say, a major signed artist. But yeah, we try to pick a like topic and try to write a story around that, and then we think about how we can make that visually interesting for people. For example, when you see, have you seen the Reject the Stream video, the story
Yes.
of video? So that, for example, we were like, we want to have this android and find us, and then we have to stretch that story across like a 5 minute song and just figure out how we would do that. And then we get the dogs involved, and we had the flashbacks of the other videos and stuff like that. You can always see what tools you have and just make use of the best stuff. So we had a couple flashbacks, and then we have a very talented CGI artist that was kind enough to help us out. And yeah, all of it ties together and kind of creates like an almost cinematic experience, because that is what we feel like this project deserves.
Yeah.
And we try to make it happen as much as we can, but with the little funds that we have being an unsigned independent artist, sometimes you have to dial back a bit. But we always try to go big and make it like movie-esque. But yeah,
Hey,
you can't always do that, unfortunately.
but what you're doing so far is unreal. I wouldn't have kind of, when you said, we do it for as little as possible, it doesn't look that way. And as long as it doesn't look that way and it looks like this big, huge, then more power to you. You're doing more with less. So well done.
Thank you. I shall let the video people know. You said that.
Good, good. Let them know. Getting back to that, you said like you like the video to follow the story of a song on the new album coming up, which I'm assuming doesn't even have a title yet. Do you kind of go every song is a different story, or are you trying to kind of have them all, I guess with Marvel being around the big cinematic universe, they all kind of trying to link back to each other, or is every kind of song telling its own story?
A little bit of both, actually. So it's not, people call the Alliance, for example, a concept album, but it's not like a concept album in like the classical sense where you have like a full-blown story front to back, for example, as in Crimson of Edge of Sanity, is where like it's called Crimson 1 to 9, and it's like one full song that just has 9 parts and is like 50 minutes long. It's not like that.
Yeah.
That is what I would call a classically termed concept record. But we don't do that. We just have like a visual and like a story concept that we center the band and the CYPECORE lore around, sort of, and everything we do kind of operates inside of that frame. So let's take I'll Be Back, for example. I
Yeah.
I wrote that song around the time when the climate problematic thingy came up, and people get like super despair and feelings of like doom imminent,
Mm.
and I just felt like I wanted to say something about that, because on the one hand you have like the societal divide that revolves around that, and then you have the imminent crisis that you kind of have to face but don't know how. And I just felt like it would be a cool thing to just say something about taking action and being maybe a little more unrelenting than prior attempts to get that thing in check. And that's what I did, but I tried to keep it in like that same universe and fashion, so you could still say it has kind of the CYPECORE DNA. And that's how we tackle most of our, or I tackle most of our lyric writing, because I try to keep it inside of the lyrical focus that we like. We use words that make sense for us in the
Yeah.
context. And yeah, I'll just try to make that happen and just put whatever topic is in my head right now, put it in that CYPECORE universe, and just filter it through that and then put it out there. So it's working out kind of nice, I would say.
Yeah, and you do a good job of it too, because when I first listened to the song, I
Thank
was
you.
like, I don't know, is this kind of based on, and this is going to make more sense now. I go, oh, it's kind of got a Matrix feel to it here with the story. It's kind of got a Terminator feel to the story, but you talked about it's kind of relating to that whole thing that happened a few years ago. But it's kind of how scary that whole pandemic was for turning us into almost like a dystopian future. So for the lyrics to kind of match up with those sci-fi elements wasn't really too far off. So like you said, kind of breeding it back into CYPECORE terms, done a fantastic job on it. Definitely kind of writes its own and paints its own picture.
No, thank you. And you also said something interesting there, because we always try to point the finger in a direction but never put it on something specifically, so that everybody could find their like own meaning to the song in
Mm.
our lyrics and songs. So it's very cool that you said that, actually. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, you're welcome, mate. You're welcome. And it's one of those things just come a long way. Don't get me wrong. It's all bangers, but it's all different, which is nice to see, because you can just make the same album again and again and again, and people will like it. But I don't know, there's just something special about change, and growing as an artist really kind of reflects.
Oh yeah, it's very much a hit or miss, but we have a very tolerant fan base, I feel like, and new people coming at us and are kind of appreciative of what we do and checking out our older stuff and are surprised that it's maybe even harder depending on what they check out and from what time period. But yeah, growth as an artist is an interesting thing because if you're being true to like an artistical like approach to things, you always want to make something that surpasses what you've done in the past. And you always have to find something that is interesting to you because at the end of the day, you make art for yourself.
Mm.
People consume that art and be the judge of that, but we don't do it for the people per se because we don't make crazy money off of this or can live off of this. This is not our job, so we just make this to reflect our personality and our views and just get like a piece of our identity out there for people to grasp and see what we're like and what we think about and just get along on that journey and just be taken with us. And if we can manage that in whichever way we can sonically, be
Yeah.
that exploring my vocal or adding new elements like the drum and bass thingy or whatever, then we will do that. And people may be critical of that. That's fair. That's their opinion. That's their taste. But at the end of the day, we make the music that we like, and if you don't like it, suck it.
Hey, and that's maybe why your music is so unique as well, because you're kind of just making, you're not following a formula like, oh, I need to do this or I need to do that, because adding these core kind of more melodic elements in that you are starting to do in the last couple of releases, well, more so, I should say, it feels natural and not like following a trend. And I don't want to point any bands out of following trends, but a big thing has been these extreme bands adding in clean vocals. Some bands have done it absolutely fantastic. Some bands, maybe it's fallen flat, but it's good to know there's no actual pressure to kind of do that. It's just, this is how we want to present the music and making music that you like. And if people like it, awesome. If they don't, like you said, suck it.
Yeah, sure. Little backstory on that. I got vocal lessons during the Corona pandemic, and I just felt like, now that I can sing, I actually would like to. That's how that came apart. I mean, we always had like the catchy, melodic sounding, cleaner choruses that were
Mm,
kind of distorted, and now that we got that new quality in my voice, I personally just would like to use it more because I feel like, we're getting older and Corey Taylor once said in an interview, he's not that 25-year-old angry kid that's on drugs anymore. He's like 40 now, has kids and just has like a different approach to life and he's just not feeling that always yelling all the
yeah.
time anymore. And I can kind of sense that going on to 35 now. I mean, I'm not old yet, but I'm kind of feeling older and not, it doesn't always have to be like the toilet bowl. Like, you can kind of get like a nice little sometimes.
How are you
So
finding doing the cleaner stuff now live as well?
I've not done well. I have. You have actually heard me doing it
I
on
have.
Wacken when we sing spirals. I mean, as yeah, I can get behind that 100%. It's very challenging actually, because it is very different. The way
Mm,
that the voice works when you're screaming is very different from what the voice does when you're singing. And so getting used to that and activating that and switching between the two is very challenging, especially in the live setting where you don't have like 10 takes and just run it back. There's like 10,000 people looking at you and they're like, you better nail this thing now, dude. We've heard it. Can you do it? Can you? And most of the times I'm like, yeah, I kind of, but you know, I'm like, how do you say that? I'm if I did a gig and I sang that thing 95% perfectly and 5% were like kind of I would think, yeah, this was all right, but I can improve by 5%. That's how I operate. And I think most artists and singers especially are like that. We are very perfectionist creatures.
mm.
But what I've gotten rid of is I would always beat myself down over it and like apologize to the fans that came to me after the show to the merge and be like, yo, this is the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, dude, no, I'm sorry. I butchered this chorus. I butchered that. And they were like, dude, you're crazy. So it was always kind of And I meant that, I would
Yeah.
always be like so critical and be like, you paid like $20 to see us, and I kind of fucked that up, and I would feel so bad, and it took like the joy out of it for me. And I spoke to other singers, and they were like, no, dude, you're doing great, man. What are you talking about? And I kind of started forgiving myself for these minor mistakes, and then just appreciate the fact that I could bring joy to like 500 people that paid to see me, and they were like grateful for me trying my hardest even if it didn't come out perfectly. So that is like one lesson. If I could teach that to the younger me, I would just say, dude, you're doing fine, appreciate it, accept it. Do not talk yourself down. Do not deny the fans of having had a great time with you. Just be grateful they're happy, and be happy yourself. That's what I would try to say.
And look, it's the imperfections that also kind of make things great live. When you go see, I've seen a few bands now, and I won't name names, where it's become obvious that the mics turn right down, it's the backing tracks come up to kind of push forward. And I can understand why bands would want to do that, because there is kind of a perfectionist society now. Everything's on social media, everything's filmed. We all have a camera in our pocket at all times. It's the little things, like little imperfections here and there, that make it go, oh, this is 100% real. So the 95% of the time when you are knocking it out of the park on the live show, people know that's genuine and just it's just real. And there's something to say to that. And that's why I'd say you've got such a big, well, a rabid fan base, because that was a big crowd of Wacken, man. It was hard to get close to the stage at that one. You got to be proud of it.
Yeah, dude, always. I mean, but that stage specifically, for you people that have not seen it, it is like the Wasteland stage, it is called, and it's like located in like an area of the festival ground that is specifically designed to be suitable for fans of like sci-fi and like dystopian Mad Max kind of, vibe thingy. And there's like flamethrowers on the stage and all of this stuff going off at the same time, and it is crazy, and we are a match made in heaven for that stage. And it's also one of the smaller stages. I would assume there were maybe like, I don't know, 5 6 thousand people there to see us play, which is crazy,
Yeah.
but not like Wacken main stage crazy where you can have like 40,000 people watching you whilst gobbling on a hot dog and drinking a beer. So yeah, for sure, dude. These, especially these bigger shows where I'm short-sighted, and I'm not wearing my glasses on stage, so I only
Mm.
see like the first 3 rows. So all shows are the same for me, which is great for stage fright, but terrible for just trying to figure out what just happened, because you play these massive shows and you don't even realize because you can't see.
Hey, look, sometimes that's a benefit. I remember, I don't know how true this was, but apparently the reason Lemmy always sung looking up to the sky with his head up was because it didn't matter if there was 10,000 people in front of him or a guy and his dog at the pub. He'd give the same energy all the time. So I guess it's a bit of a blessing and a curse, because, maybe you do a big show and there is only 100 people there, but you can't tell. So it's not the worst
Dude,
thing in
I
the
don't care
world.
about that. I always give it my all. I don't care if I play to one person or like 10,000. I'm always playing the same show. Sometimes I prefer the smaller shows where I can
Mm.
actually grab a hold of people, because I mean, our music works really well on record, but I feel like where it like exceeds is when you get the live show on
Yes.
top, because you can actually see these glowing, like, we don't have any lights on stage. It's just the glow of our suits and like fog, and everything's kind of dirty and grimy, and I can grab a hold of you. I don't talk to the audience. I'm just making signals with my hands, and I'm pointing at people, and I'm not talking at all. So it is something, dude. You get immersed in the live show, and that's where I feel like our like biggest strength is, because we, for one, play pretty good, I would say.
Yeah.
And yeah, the concept. If we play a show at night, dude, it's fucking awesome. If we play at daylight, can be kind of loses its razzle dazzle a little bit, because you can see that we built the fucking outfits ourselves, and we're not professional costume makers yet. But yeah, I mean, at night, a show, if you
Yeah.
can go see it, go see it.
You definitely go see it. That's one of the things as well. And I've noticed people are asking you to kind of travel all around the world. I'm reading the comments on the music videos. You're getting a lot of people wanting you to go to the States. I know Australia is a bit of a pipe dream because we're all the way on the other side of the planet. But if I have my say, we'll get you down here. But is there any plans to try and break into the American market at all?
nothing that would be like utopia for us because
Mm.
realistically what is holding us back from making bigger videos is also holding us back from flying four people plus the gear plus the suits, plus a light tech and a sound guy to the US and have like work visa set up for six people and tour there for like I don't know how long until you get that money back. It's a pipe dream, unfortunately, because you don't make that kind of money being in a like underground German metal band that gets some recognition internationally, which is very nice. But it's not like we make like 10,000 bucks a year that we could just spend, and it, it's it's a small business venture. We're
Yeah.
trying to get there, dude. If somebody were to invest into us and be like, "Hey, I got this tour set up," and you know, if people can make something like that happen and are willing to get you there, it's gonna happen. But from like our own strength, it's virtually impossible, dude.
Yeah, and look,
Never
it's
know.
you never know. Look, I guess if you look at the views, like I said, on the videos and everything, they're creeping up over time. This is the first. I know you had the EP out in April, but this is the first album in what, 6 years now?
Oh yeah, we dropped the
Yeah.
Alliance 2018, and then things happened. Our bass player Chris died of cancer, and our former drummer Tobias left the band, and then the pandemic happened, and it was all like very, very rough to deal with,
Mm,
and sort of, emotional times, and also you just weren't sure what the music business would be like. And as I said, we operate on our own money,
yeah.
and if we had released an album in like let's say 2021 and it would have flopped, then
Mhm.
the band would have been dead because we can't afford to have like no revenue coming from an album we released. And so we waited patiently for this pandemic to boil over, and then we announced a tour, and then we said, we would like to have a release for that tour. And I said, okay, we have these songs that we made during the pandemic. Let's just make an EP. And then we made this. I don't have one here right now. So we have like the special box set of, we did like 500 of those where there was like uh, a custom USB flash drive where I would have like a spoken message on there. And also the track I'll Be Back was on that as like an unreleased
Ah,
like preview to the album for people that would support us in that way. And there was like all kinds of stuff in there. And we made 500 of those and tried to sell them. We still have a couple if you're interested. And we went on tour, and that tour went like amazing. Best tour
yeah.
we ever did, best numbers we ever did. We were just happy that people were still giving a shit despite us not having released an album in like 5 years. And then we finished that in May, I think, did a couple festivals and started working on album number 5. And that's like the next thing that we're trying to get out because now the world seems to have recovered from the COVID thing. And yeah,
And
you
people
can
are
actually
kind
be
of,
a band again now.
yeah, people are rabid for it. I'm going to shows and these things are selling out more than ever. People are buying much more than ever. So it's kind of it's a good thing. I've heard it's more expensive to tour now, but at
Oh,
least,
yeah.
yeah, the
It's like
people are
triple
coming
the
out.
price, dude. It's crazy.
People are coming out in droves for it. And you've kind of answered my question. I was going to say how many songs that are coming out for the new album were kind of written, I guess. The last album was 18. So I'm sure, as a writer, you're always constantly writing. But is there
Eh, not
anything
so much.
sometimes video games and movies get in the way. I know they do for
Oh,
me,
yeah.
but yeah. Is there many songs pre-pandemic on the upcoming album, or did you kind of get all those out on the last EP?
Dude, I don't even remember the time frames of making these. We have worked on songs that have been around since like 2008 or something like crazy where we have like a database of riffs that are just recorded from whenever,
Yeah.
and you sometimes pick one out and listen through all of them and like, oh, this is cool, and then you work from that idea and kind of create something out of it. So the origin sometimes can date back as far as like 15 years ago and you wouldn't
Wow.
even know.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I mean, I honestly couldn't even tell you, dude. I know for a fact that there's two songs on the record that have been written for God knows how long. I think we started writing on them for the prior record, but didn't think they were good enough for that record.
Yep.
And then, we kind of worked on them again, and now we kind of refined it, and our interest kind of shifted, and we have new ideas, and you make something out of those as well, because I mean, a song is only as good as you make it to be. And
Yeah.
if you just have it written and sitting in your Dropbox and nobody's ever gonna hear it, then you know it's in vain. It's no song if nobody's ever heard it.
And it's one of those things. It's interesting you say you've got songs sitting there and you just didn't feel they were good enough for the release. But I guess that kind of shows, like we talked about already, the evolution and growing as a person and the different styles taking different influences. Maybe a song that you wrote in 2015 did need you to become more of a Soilwork fan at this point in time to kind of go, ah, that's what it needed.
I've
Just
always
need
been a big fan, dude. I
just
just
needed
couldn't
a
sing.
spice. That's the hardest part, isn't
Yeah,
it?
well, for sure, for sure.
Dude,
But we
no, you go, you go.
we played with Soilwork. They are like one of the biggest and greatest bands I've ever seen, dude. It's dude, Soilwork has like a special place in my heart. I don't know. I'm fanboying so hard right now, but for good reason, dude. Crazy
Actually,
band.
I'm a huge fan of Soil. I don't know, it was one of those things that they tour Australia quite regularly, which lucky me that every single time it took me 13 years to finally go see them live. I just saw them on the last album. Absolutely fantastic band, but it's just so many things went wrong. I don't know what it was. It's the same with Killswitch Engage, for example. Been a fan for nearly 20 years. Only got to see them live for the first time at Wacken. It's crazy how stuff works. But speaking of fanboying, have you played with any bands where you've just kind of been like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening, and you kind of have to keep your cool? You mentioned Soilwork, but
Yeah. I was warming up next to I mean, we had a dressing room next to Soilwork that was like separated by a wooden door, and I would just warm up singing Soilwork songs just to like notice me senpai, you know. I mean, at this point, we've played with a couple crazy bands, to be honest. Um, Mostly on big festivals. I mean, Summer Breeze and Wacken, you know, we you get to play with all the. But I'm not a person that is like looking for celebrity attention backstage because I don't want to get on people's nerves. I
yeah.
feel like we are just, you know, a small band, and I once ate lunch next to Dave Mustaine of Megadeth, and I did not say a word. I just sat there eating and I was like, bye. And then when he got up, when he was done eating, like half of the tent would just get up and storm him and crowd him and ask for a picture. I just don't want to be that guy, especially not in a backstage scenario where you're like, yo, these people are here to chill. They have a show to play. This is work. This is professional. Just keep it quiet, you know? If somebody wants to talk to you, they'll come to you.
Mm,
But yeah, it was very interesting having like a backstage container next to Behemoth, for example, at a German festival called With Full Force.
yep.
Just walking out there, sitting, seeing like the bass player getting ready for his show, or last year Summer Breeze, we were in the container next to Hypocrisy, and I've been a huge Bloodbath fan, and like one of my favorite records Peter Tegren has sung. So it's just insane, just the amount of people that you've been listening to for your whole life. You just walk right next to him, and you're supposedly just a colleague, and you're just like, yeah, it's just normal to be around them. And in my brain, it's just not. And I know that I would be fucking weird talking to them, so I just don't.
Look, I can completely understand that too. I don't know how I'd go in that situation. I'd probably be the shy guy as well and kind of just keep my
Oh
head
yeah.
under the radar. Yeah, yeah. You got to except when I saw you at back, and you opened me to that invitation, and I appreciate it. It was great meeting you there as
I was
well.
gonna say, dude, I contacted you first, and I was actually keen on meeting you. So it's more like an eye to eye scenario where you actually try to meet as much and as many people as you can, and you know, have good times. But I would never. I mean, I probably don't bother people as much as I think I am, but when I am like backstage and I see like Devin Townsend, I was like, "Oh my God, what's up, Devin? How you doing?" He's like, "Yeah," you know, and that's it. I'm not gonna say more, and not like, "Oh, dude, you are the best vocalist ever. Can I please suck your dick?" You know, something unhinged like that would probably fall out of my mouth, and I'd be like completely embarrassed. And what's your band again? CYPECORE? Ah, that fucking bullshit, dude. We are, you know, just make a fool out of yourself. So I try to stay away from that as much as I can.
Yeah, look, it's like me myself. I'll say something 8 years ago to a random person, and I'll lay in bed one night. I was like, "Remember when you said that
Yeah.
thing came off like complete idiot? Stay awake for the next hour and think about that." So that's my
Yeah,
life.
feel the shame of 1,000 years. It's just buried in your heart, dude. I'm like that as well.
No, look, mate, thank you so much for your time today. I don't want to hold you up too much. Plus, the countdown's running down. It's going to shut us out and kick us out in a second. But is there anything you kind of wanted to say to everyone out there, especially, I guess, more so that some of the English speaking fans that might not get this opportunity to hear you do an interview?
Not really, dude. I'm just I appreciate you having me, and I am Dominic. My band is called CYPECORE. We are making music that is somewhere reminiscent of, as I mentioned, Soilwork, Fear Factory, Slipknot, kind of a thing. Go check us out if you'd like. We are going to drop our fifth album next year, hopefully, and we'll see you on the road somewhere.
If you could recommend one music video right now for the people to go check out who haven't checked you out before, what would it be?
How about you go check out whatever you like, baby? I don't know. I'm bad at this. Go check out I'll Be Back because it's the newest.
Yeah, go check that one out. I'll link that in the comments below as well, so you've got no excuse not to find it. But thank you once again, Dom, for being here today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, likewise, dude. Thanks for having me.